My name is Kevin. This year, I turned 40. I work at a small-town factory near my home, manufacturing auto parts, mainly car lights. My job is to supervise temporary workers lined up on the assembly line and ensure we deliver the specified lights by the deadline. Some of these workers have issues that trouble me, and one such case is the recently joined Emily Smith. There are no problems with her work or performance. In Emily's case, it's not so much a problem as it is a concern. Emily didn't have lunch again today. I asked her, sitting in a corner of the cafeteria during lunch break. She looked up at me awkwardly. "Yes, I didn't have time to buy," she said. "You can leave the factory to buy some," I suggested. "But wouldn't that be against the company's rules?" she asked. "It can't be helped. If you don't eat properly, it'll affect your work in the afternoon too," I replied. "I'm sorry, but I don't have the money to buy food," she said. Again, she not only doesn't bring lunch, but she also barely has any money on her. Even as a temp, she should be making between $1,800 to $2,000 a month, including overtime. The pay might be low, but it's not so bad that she should always be struggling financially. Plus, she lives with her parents. She should have some money to spend. "Hey, are you managing your money properly?" I asked. "And Emily, you should take more care with your appearance." She looked down as I said this. Emily had just graduated from high school, but frankly, she was unkempt. Although she seemed to bathe, it appeared she wasn't washing her company uniform properly, as it was dirty and worn out. She smelled bad, causing complaints from other temp workers. "I'm sorry. I'm not allowed to use the washing machine," she explained. "That can't be true. Everyone's getting upset, so please come properly dressed from tomorrow," I insisted. She nodded weakly to my words, but at that time, I didn't realize she was in a situation far worse than I could have ever imagined. These young people nowadays really lack discipline. That night, after finishing work and returning home, I grumbled to my wife Susan for dinner about Emily again. Yes, she doesn't really bring lunch, she's careless with money, and on top of that, not washing her clothes is just the worst. Don't you think? Oh, that topic again. Susan's expression clouded. Lately, I have been complaining about Emily to my wife quite a bit. She must be tired of hearing it, but Susan's reaction was unexpected. "Maybe Emily is being mistreated by her parents," she said. "What do you mean?" I asked. "I've been hearing some rumors in the neighborhood, and it got me thinking," Susan explained. She then told me about a recent rumor she'd heard. Apparently, in a family that had moved into a public housing complex, a daughter was being neglected by her parents. The family's last name is Smith. Could it be? "Well, it seems that girl is her father's stepchild and the family treats her coldly," Susan said. "Can you keep an eye on her for a while?" Understood. I was stunned by my wife's words, but thinking about it, it explained why Emily didn't bring lunch or have any money if her parents were taking all the money she earned. Just the thought of it made me feel sick. However, I was about to witness something even more shocking. It happened on the weekend while shopping at the supermarket with my wife Susan. I coincidentally saw Emily. "Come on, hurry up and walk." "Stop it, Kevin." Emily was being hit by a little boy. It was more like playful punching around her waist, but she clearly didn't like it. Besides, there were a man and a woman who looked like her parents, laughing loudly as they watched. "Look, that's Emily, the girl you were talking about," Susan said. "No doubt about it." "Excuse me, I'll go over there for a moment," I said. "Wait, Kevin," Susan called out. I approached Emily. "Hey, what are you doing?" I asked the boy, grabbing his arm. "Let go, old man," he shouted. I looked at Emily. "Hey there, Emily. What a coincidence meeting you here, shopping with your family, huh?" "Yes, that's right," she said, her eyes filled with fear as they shifted towards her parents, who were watching me with suspicion. "Are you Emily's parents?" I asked. I've always been grateful for her help, I'm Kevin, the factory manager. Oh, is that so? Her father responded with a suspicious look and a curt greeting. But then he said something astonishing. About Emily's salary. Can it be raised a bit? She even does overtime, but doesn't bring in much money. Can something be done about that? Jerk, her mother shouted. We're letting you use our daughter. Pay her more. Let go, you old jerk. The boy, whom she called Kevin, tried to shake off my hand. I released his hand. Fine, don't mess with me, he said, and ran back to his parents. Dad, beat up that old jerk, Kevin shouted. Not here. We'll deal with it later. The father laughed loudly and crudely at his son's words. What's with these people? Susan murmured beside me. She gently tugged at my clothes, a signal to move away from these people. Well, we'll be going then. See you at work, Emily, I said. Hey, think about her pay raise, will you? The father shouted after us. Ignoring the shouting boy, we walked away from the Smith family. Emily watched us leave with a longing gaze. Kevin, thank you for yesterday. The next day at work, Emily approached me. I didn't realize what you were going through. I'm sorry for any thoughtless things I've said before. I know it's embarrassing, but I couldn't do anything about it, she said, and began to slowly share her circumstances. Since her parents divorced and she was taken in by her father, Emily had always been burdened with household chores. Because of this, there were times she couldn't go to school. After middle school, she worked part-time while attending a night high school with her father's permission. At that time, she wasn't deprived of her earnings. She had to manage everything herself, but she lived relatively freely. However, everything changed after her father remarried. Her stepmother disliked her and treated her coldly, teaching Kevin, her stepbrother, to treat Emily like a servant. Her father never reprimanded the stepmother's behavior. Instead, they demanded she pay back for being raised by taking all her earnings from her part-time jobs. Her clothes and personal belongings were thrown away by her stepmother, and she was even restricted from bathing often and washing her clothes. That's why I couldn't wash my uniform freely, and it got all tattered. I'm really sorry, she concluded her story. I was speechless for a while, overwhelmed by her situation, which was worse than I could have imagined. Despite being in such a tough situation, I thought she was strong for enduring it alone, but also felt deeply sorry for her. Then I handed her something. Here, eat this if you'd like. What is this? She looked at the package I handed her with a confused expression on her face. My wife made this packed lunch especially for you. She really wants you to have it. Just give me back the empty box when you're done. No rush. Wow, your wife made this homemade lunch for me. I'm so touched, she said, tears welling up in her eyes. Trying to hold back her tears, she said in a trembling voice, Thank you so much. Even though I've been such a burden, it's okay. Also, could you hand me your uniform over the weekend? My wife is eager to wash it for you. Are you sure? You're doing so much for me, she responded in a tearful voice. That's all we can do for you. And remember, if you ever want to leave your current situation, you can always talk to us. Thank you. But what would my family say if I accepted help? Tears streamed down her face as she tried to hold them back. It's okay. I know someone who's an expert in these matters. We can definitely help you. I gently rubbed her shoulders to reassure her. Sobbing, she expressed her feelings. I don't want to live in that house anymore. I want to have a normal life like everyone else. Please help me. Her pain, borne in silence for so long, resonated painfully with me. That night, the front of my house became a bit of a battleground. Hey, where did you take Emily? Bring her out. For some reason, Emily's father came to my house demanding her return. He kept banging on the door, yelling at us inside. Susan looked at him anxiously. Hey, are we okay? She asked me. We are fine. Besides, if we engage with him, our house will turn into a mess. I reassured her while holding her shoulder. Emily wasn't even here to begin with. It's a hassle that he showed up like this. For now, I've called the police, just like you said. Susan whispered to me while holding her phone. Good, that's the right move. I smiled at Susan and took the phone from her. I then dialed a certain number. Soon after, Emily's parents were taken away by the police. Phew, that was scary. I'm sorry for causing this. Emily's apologetic voice came through the phone. I spoke gently to her over the phone. No, it's okay. Did you manage to get to the station all right? Yes, I'm on my way to the NPU you told me about. Emily replied happily. Yes, I was the one who helped her run away from home. The reason Emily's parents came to my house was that I had advised her to leave a note implying she was heading here. I thought it would buy her some time to escape. But are you sure I'll be accepted? She sounded anxious. Don't worry. Helping kids oppressed by their parents is what that NPU does. Thank you so much. Her voice trailed as she spoke. I could sense her near tears even over the phone. I've done what I can now. It's up to you. You have to carve out your own life. You okay with that? Yes, I'll be fine. You've endured your family's unreasonable treatment for so long. I'm sure you'll be okay, no matter what difficulties you face. Yes. Oh, I've arrived. I'm going to hang up now. All right. Take care. Yes, thank you for everything. With those words, the call ended. I gently moved the phone away from my ear and smiled kindly at Susan beside me. She'll be fine. She's brave enough to ask for help. Susan smiled back and gently held my hand. Later, I heard that the NPU had reported Emily's parents to the police, and they were being investigated. Her stepbrother Kevin was taken in by his father. The next day, when the employees wondered about her absence, I simply said she had moved. Years passed in the blink of an eye. Look, Kevin, we've got a Christmas card from Emily. Really? I exclaimed as Susan handed me the card. In the Christmas card, she appears posing with her husband. She is also holding a cute baby in her arms. All three were smiling happily. She says the baby girl was born healthy last year. We need to send a gift. Emily had successfully severed ties with her parents and started a new family after our intervention. We still catch up over the phone every few months. She's now a mother. She's going to be a great mom. I agree. We smiled at each other while looking at the Christmas card. Though Emily had endured tough times, she was now happily living with her new family. I'm glad I listened to her plea for help back then, and I'm profoundly grateful to Susan for her support. Watching her smile, I thought to myself, I truly wish from the bottom of my heart that she continues to lead a happy life.